Hi everybody, today's project we're going to start with a bench that I made out of 3 equal sides. First thing I did was cut 3 equal boards of 16 by 16 inch square. Once I got these boards cut, I went ahead and chose one to be my top and pre-drilled it in 4 locations along 2 sides in order to put screws through so I don't split the wood. Once I was able to build the box, I went ahead and cut some fabric that will go on the underside of the box. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take our stool that we made that has 3 sides and turn it upside down. This is going to be the bottom right here, and don't worry if the sides don't look like they're straight after you screw it in. We will take care of that with a 4th piece of wood that will be our brace. Next, we take our pre-cut fabric and place it over the stool. Remember, this is the underside, so we're going to get all the wrinkles out, tuck it up in there, and grab your stapler and go ahead and staple all up against the edge. This board is 3/4 of an inch thick, so I'm using 1/2 inch staples, and it's going to work perfect. Nothing is going to stick out. They won't poke through the other end. What you're going to do now is staple all around the edges, getting all the slack out. Once you do that, take a pair of scissors, cut off the excess all the way around. Then we're going to take a 4th piece of wood, cover it in the same fabric. This is a scrap board that I had, and it's going to give this stool an extra piece of strength. Go ahead and screw it in from the sides and in the top. I did 3 screws across the top and made it extra strong. Now it's time to take the same fabric that we had and lay it across the front. Hang with me, I'll show you exactly what we're doing. You want to put it all the way across the front and down the sides. Take your stapler and do like we've done before. Staple all up and down the sides. Put a lot in these because there's going to be some tension on it. Again, using 1/2 inch staplers. Now you're going to take the pool noodle, lay it across, cut it to size, lay the fabric over. Pull the fabric tight around the pool noodle, no need to adhere it with glue or anything, and start stapling. The tighter the fabric, the better. All along the pool noodle. Look at how sharp those lines are, and staple all up and down. Once you get that first noodle in, pull the fabric back over and expose the wood. Now it's time for the second pool noodle. Make sure all of the wrinkles and everything are pulled out of the fabric. Put that second pool noodle down, and you're going to repeat the process. Throw the fabric back over and staple again. You should get about 5 to 7 rows. And once we get that done, we'll show you the final project. And here it is, the final stool. It looks amazing, and it's actually very comfortable. My son just loves it. It sits in his room and he can enjoy reading on it.
We're gonna grab 1 noodle and our first color of yarn. And we're gonna start by just putting a little hot glue on the inside, securing the yarn right on the inside there, and then just wrapping the yarn around the noodle. You can use a little bit of hot glue along the way to tack it in place. So now that we've got it started here, we can just start wrapping. And we want to keep the yarn pretty close together. So as we go around, you can kind of push it down and just continue wrapping all the way down to the noodle until we fill the whole thing. So we end this the same way we started, with just a little bit of hot glue right here. For this next step, I've got 2 stacks of big, heavy books. You could use bricks or rocks for this part, but this is going to help us shape this pool noodle into a rainbow. So, just going to hold it there for now. Then we're going to take the next noodle, which isn't wrapped in yarn yet, and place it inside this first one. Because you'll notice that this noodle doesn't need to be as long. So I'm just going to grab a Sharpie, they're flush on this end, and I'm just going to draw a line where I need to cut off the next color. And then I can measure out the next color right away. It's helpful to do this before wrapping it in yarn. It's going to be a lot easier. So now that I have everything marked, I can take a scissors or a craft knife and just cut off these ends, and then go ahead and wrap the yellow, green, and blue in yarn. Now that everything is covered in yarn, it's time to start turning these pool noodles into a rainbow. So this time we're going to start with the 2 innermost pieces. this is our smallest piece here, and we need to curve it into a rainbow shape. So we're gonna have a couple tools that help us do that. You're gonna need 2 zip ties and a handful of bamboo skewers that are sharp on one end. We're gonna curve this into that rainbow shape, and you can use those heavy books again to hold it in place. Then we're gonna take the end of the zip tie, and this is pretty easy to poke through this foam here. So we're just gonna go from the inside and poke it through like this. So we're gonna join these 2 ends together and these 2 ends together. So I've got this one all in place. Now I'm gonna add the other noodles. So I'm just gonna push my books away a little bit and add the green, and then the yellow, and finally the pink. We're going to use these bamboo skewers to hold everything together. And I'm just gonna slide the skewer pointy side in all the way through, so it goes through both the foam and the yarn. And we just don't want it to come out the end. We want it to go through the purple, but not come out the end. And you can leave the stick hanging off here. We'll take care of these in a little bit. Now I'm just gonna work my way around. Okay, we've got them all the way around. Just one last one right up here. So we've got everything on. Now the zip ties here, I'm just gonna pull them a little bit tighter to bring this bottom in a bit closer. And then I'm gonna add one more on the very bottom of each one of these. All right, so when we flip it over, you don't really see any of those skewers on here. If we do, like this one sticks up a little bit here, I can pull this out and angle it in a little bit differently so that we don't see it as much. So tweak that as you need to. And then we're gonna take a clippers or a wire cutter and just snip these off. All right, our arches for our rainbow are done, and now we need to cover up this bottom part here. So we are gonna create some clouds. I've got a couple pieces of cardboard here. And we're just gonna sketch out some cloud shapes. And then we can cut this out using a craft knife. So we've got 2 clouds cut out here, and I'm going to paint them with a metallic white paint. If you want to make this even easier, you can cut these out of white foam board, and then you wouldn't need to paint them. The metallic paint though is going to add a nice shine and a nice piece of interest to the bottom of our rainbow. So our clouds are all dry, and all we're going to do to attach these is just set them right on top, kind of position them where we want them here. And we're just going to hot glue right under here to the yarn and the noodles underneath. And when this is hanging on a wall, you are not gonna see any of this. So if I flip this over, the best way to hang it is just gonna be to loop a piece of yarn through one of these skewers here, and we can go hang this up on the wall. This yarn rainbow makes a beautiful statement in my craft room. I love the color that it adds. I hope you're inspired to go grab some pool noodles and some yarn and create your own rainbow for your home. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.